All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Semicon India Conference 2022 in Bengaluru this morning. Prime Minister to also inaugurate Global Patidar Business Summit GPBS in Surat, Gujarat today via video conferencing. Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari to dedicate 2 NHAI projects in Telangana to the nation this morning. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal stresses on the need for cyber security and data privacy. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to launch mandate document of National Curriculum Framework today. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momin in Dhaka to leave for Bhutan this morning. Narcotics Control Bureau NCB seized 50 kg heroin from Shaheen Bagh in Delhi yesterday and arrested one person. National capital Delhi reports nearly 1,500 COVID cases in the last 24 hours, the highest after February 5 this year. India Meteorological Department IMD issues orange alert for severe heat for Wardha, Akola, Chandrapur and Yavatmal districts in Maharashtra for tomorrow and Sunday. Chinese capital Beijing reels under fears of surge in COVID cases and reports spurt in prices of essential commodities. In Khelo India University Games, Bengaluru swimmer Shiva Sridhar claims 7 gold and 2 silver medals as Jain University continues to dominate the pool, and Kerala storm into the final of 75th Santosh Trophy National Football Championship, defeating Karnataka 7-3 in the first semi-final last evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate Semicon India Conference 2022 today. This 3-day event will take place in Bengaluru. The 3-day conference is being organized to take forward the vision of the Prime Minister to make India a leader in the electronics manufacturing, semiconductor design, manufacturing and innovation, according to a Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology MEITY release. The conference is envisioned as the launchpad to kickstart the country's ambition in becoming the global semiconductor hub and nurture the chip design and manufacturing ecosystem. Eminent experts from industry associations, research organizations and academia will take part in this conference. They will deliberate upon policy, talent, government's role and efforts in creating a favorable growth environment for the semiconductor ecosystem in the country. Speaking about the conference earlier, Minister of State in MEITY Rajiv Chandrasekhar said, Semicon India 2022 conference will attract the best minds from across the world from the semiconductor industry, research and academia, and will act as a big step in fulfilling the Prime Minister's vision on making India a global hub for electronic manufacturing and semiconductor industry. Mr. Chandrasekhar also informed that the government is looking forward to a number of MOUs to be signed during the 3-day conference, forging partnerships and alliances in the semiconductor space. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Global Patidar Business Summit GPBS today via video conferencing. Sardar Dham is organizing the GBPS under Mission 2026 to provide impetus to the socio-economic development of Patidar community. The summit is organized every 2 years. The first 2 summits were held in Gandhinagar in 2018 and 2020, and the current summit is being held in Surat. The main theme of GPBS 2022 is Atmanirbhar Community to Atmanirbhar Gujarat and India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged the youth to abandon the path of militancy and work for the development of the country. He was addressing a massive rally on peace, unity and development at Loring Thepi village around 75 kilometers from Difu, the headquarter town of the Karbi Anglong Autonomous District in Assam yesterday. Mr. Modi said the peace accord which was signed with the 6 militant groups of this district in September last year solved the decades-old militancy problems of this area. He said under the historic peace accord over 1,000 militants abjured violence and joined the mainstream of society, and the government is now rehabilitating the surrendered militants. Mr. Modi informed that under the special development package, as a part of the peace accord, 1,000 crore rupees will be provided by the Union government and the Assam government for this district.
समझौते के तहत 1,000 करोड़ रुपए के अनेक प्रोजेक्ट का शिलान्यास आज यहाँ पर किया गया है। डिग्री कॉलेज हो, वेटरनरी कॉलेज हो, एग्रीकल्चर कॉलेज हो, ये सारे संस्थान यहाँ के युवाओं को नए अवसर देने वाले हैं।
The Prime Minister said the Union government is working for the welfare of the tribal people of the district and other areas of the state, and the Karbi Anglong district will be a developed district in a very short time. The Prime Minister said peace and normalcy is returning to Assam.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट में सरकार और समाज के सामूहिक प्रयासों से जैसे जैसे शांति लौट रही है, वैसे वैसे पुराने नियमों में भी बदलाव किया जा रहा है। लेकिन बीते 8 सालों के दौरान स्थायी शांति और बेहतर कानून व्यवस्था लागू होने के कारण हमें आपसा को नॉर्थ ईस्ट के कई क्षेत्रों से हटा दिया है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट में हिंसा की घटना में करीब 75% की कमी आई है।
Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari will be dedicating 2 NHAI projects in Telangana to the nation this morning. The 4-laning of the National Highway 161 in 2 stretches, Mangalore to Telangana and Ramsanpalli to Mangalore, will be dedicated to the nation. The 2 stretches have been developed for about 96 kilometers at a cost of 2,926 crore rupees. Besides, the minister will also be laying foundation stone for 19 other NHAI projects of an estimated cost of over 5,000 crore rupees, covering 370 kilometers. 7 of these projects have been taken up under the Central Road and Infrastructure Fund.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has stressed on the need to ensure that the enormous data collected by the digital technology platforms is safeguarded and called for more focus on cyber security and data privacy. Mr. Goyal said this while addressing the Confederation of Indian Industry Global Unicorn Summit in New Delhi yesterday. He noted that India's consumer digital economy is worth approximately $100 billion and is expected to become an $800 billion market by 2030. He also called for further strengthening of ethics and corporate governance norms in startups and called for more transparency and setting up of better standards and benchmarks and more self-regulation in the startup ecosystem. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan will launch the mandate document of National Curriculum Framework today. The National Education Policy 2020 recommends development of the National Curriculum Frameworks in 4 areas of school education, early childhood care and education, teacher education and adult education. The mandate document describes the development process of the National Curriculum Framework, its expected structure and objectives. The National Curriculum Framework is being drafted through a collaborative and consultative process starting from district to state level and then the national level. Talking to AIR News, educationist Sant Chaudhary said that the change in curriculum will benefit students.
Our Honorable Minister Dharmendra Pradhan ji will deliver a lecture and margdarshan for all of us on new education policy. Government has decided to make some changes in syllabus which will be very useful because there was a need to change in syllabus. So Honorable Minister today will be inaugurating for this new education policy and we welcome for this type of change and I hope this will be a great margdarshan for teachers, students and all youth of the nation.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be leaving shortly for Bhutan after completing his visit to Bangladesh. Dr. Jaishankar arrived in Dhaka yesterday on his second official visit since March last year. During his visit, Dr. Jaishankar called on Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and held meeting with Bangladeshi Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen in Dhaka. Our special correspondent in Dhaka has filed this report.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar's visit to Bangladesh is the 4th visit of the highest level of Indian leadership to Bangladesh since March last year. This signifies the importance of Bangladesh in its neighborhood first policy. During his visit, Dr. Jaishankar extended Prime Minister Narendra Modi's invitation to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to visit India. Addressing media in Dhaka after meeting with his Bangladeshi counterpart, Dr. Jaishankar said that he is looking forward to the visit of Foreign Minister Dr. Momen to Delhi to take part in the 7th round of Joint Consultative Committee meeting, which will lay the ground to take India-Bangladesh relations to the next level. Dr. Jaishankar expressed satisfaction that trade, investment, travel services, connectivity and disbursement of loans for the bilateral projects have reached new heights after recovering from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Rajesh Jha for AIR News, Dhaka.
The Narcotics Control Bureau NCB seized 50 kg heroin from the Shaheen Bagh area of Jamia Nagar in Delhi and arrested one person. Briefing the reporters in New Delhi yesterday, Deputy Director General of NCB Sanjay Kumar Singh said the team has seized 50 kilograms of heroin, 47 kilograms of narcotics and 30 lakh rupees in cash. He said the NCB suspects that the money seized was received through the Hawala channels. Mr. Singh said these international syndicates have been smuggling goods to India through maritime as well as land border routes.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Semicon India Conference 2022 in Bengaluru this morning. Prime Minister to also inaugurate Global Patidar Business Summit GPBS in Surat, Gujarat today via video conferencing. Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari to dedicate 2 NHAI projects in Telangana to nation this morning. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal stresses on the need for cyber security and data privacy. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to launch mandate document of National Curriculum Framework today. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen in Dhaka to leave for Bhutan this morning. The Narcotics Control Bureau NCB seized 50 kg heroin from Shaheen Bagh in Delhi yesterday and arrested one person. The national capital Delhi reports nearly 1,500 COVID cases in the last 24 hours, highest after February 5 this year. India Meteorological Department IMD issues orange alert for severe heat wave for Wardha, Akola, Chandrapur and Yavatmal districts in Maharashtra for tomorrow and Sunday. Chinese capital Beijing reels under fears of surge in COVID cases and reports spurt in prices of essential commodities. In the Khelo India University Games, Bengaluru swimmer Shiva Sridhar claims 7 gold and 2 silver medals as Jain University continues to dominate the pool. And Kerala storms into the final of 75th Santosh Trophy National Football Championship, defeating Karnataka 7-3 in the first semi-final last evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
The national capital Delhi yesterday reported nearly 1,500 COVID cases in the last 24 hours, the highest after February the 5th this year. The active cases in the city rose to 5,250, which is the highest since February the 10th, when the active cases were 5,438. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed the 188 crore 62 lakh mark. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said that more than 20 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The ministry said more than 2 crore 82 lakh vaccine doses have been administered to the 12 to 14-year age group as the first dose so far.
Chinese capital Beijing is closing many public venues, cancelling large events, shifting schools to online mode as fears of surge in COVID cases loom large over the city. There are reports of price rise too as authorities scramble to stabilize supply and keep the delivery chain intact. Chinese authorities have said they are cracking down on price rise as food shortages in Shanghai due to lockdown continues and fears in Beijing caused a rush to supermarkets. A report from our Beijing correspondent.
Taking a cue from poorly managed lockdown in Shanghai and the northeastern province of Jilin, Beijing has moved ever faster to halt a growing outbreak as it has reported nearly 180 cases in this week. Authorities are mass testing more than 20 million people across Beijing 3 times and suspended all mass gatherings and events. On Thursday, the city reported 50 new cases. Authorities locked down some individual residential buildings, office blocks and a university and closed some public spaces and venues. To stem infections in schools, major districts in Beijing have suspended in-person school classes of middle and primary schools and kindergartens and started online teaching. Meanwhile, Shanghai's 25 million residents have been in lockdown for weeks with major food shortages, poor quality of food, delivery issues and huge price surge. Anshuman Mishra, AIR News, Beijing.
The India Meteorological Department issued an orange alert indicating severe heat for the Wardha, Akola, Chandrapur and Yavatmal districts in Maharashtra for tomorrow and Sunday. IMD said that severe heat impact includes high temperature, increased likelihood of heat-related illness in people who are exposed to sun for a prolonged period, doing heavy work, and vulnerable population like infants, senior citizens and people suffering from chronic illness. Talking to AIR News, IMD DG Mrityunjay Mahapatra said that heat wave is prevailing in northwest India and central India.
नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया और सेंट्रल इंडिया में लगभग सभी राज्यों में टेम्परेचर 5 से 7 डिग्री सेल्सियस नॉर्मल से ज्यादा है और कुछ कुछ इलाका के हीट वेव टू सीवियर हीट वेव प्रिवेल कर रहा है। ये सभी राज्य है पंजाब, हरियाणा, चंडीगढ़, दिल्ली, उत्तर प्रदेश, मध्य प्रदेश, उड़ीसा, छत्तीसगढ़, झारखंड, महाराष्ट्र और जो ईस्ट सेंट्रल इंडिया है जैसे उड़ीसा, झारखंड, बिहार और बंगाल की पश्चिम भाग, वहाँ 30 तारीख तक हीट वेव रहने का पूर्वानुमान है। इसके बाद वहाँ थंडरस्टॉर्म होने का और बे ऑफ बंगाल से विंड आने के प्रभाव में टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज होगा और हीट वेव कंडीशन एबेट होने का संभावना है। सिमिलरली 2 तारीख से नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया में एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस आने का संभावना है। इसके प्रभाव में 2 तारीख के बाद हीट वेव एबेट होने का पूर्वानुमान है।
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today we remember Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh. Raja Mahendra Pratap was born into the ruling family in Hathras in 1886.
In 1914, Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh left his estate to plunge into India's struggle for independence. On the 1st of December 1915, he proclaimed the first provincial government of India outside India at the Bagh-e-Babar in Kabul. He declared himself president and his fiery fellow revolutionary Maulana Barkatullah of Bhopal as prime minister of the provincial government.
Raja Mahendra Pratap was also deeply involved with the Swadeshi movement and would constantly promote small industries with indigenous goods and local artisans. Deeply influenced by the speeches of Dada Bhai Naroji and Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahendra Pratap started the movement to burn foreign-made clothes.
Pratap also visited foreign countries in an attempt to obtain support for India in its struggle for freedom. In 1929, Mahendra Pratap launched the World Federation in Berlin. He was nominated for the 1932 Nobel Peace Prize. After almost 32 years in exile, Mahendra Pratap Singh finally returned to India in 1946.
In independent India, he entered Lok Sabha from Mathura in 1957. Raja Mahendra Pratap continued to work for the society till his death on the 29th of April 1979. AIR News salutes the great nationalist Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh.
We also remember the freedom fighter Gopabandhu Chaudhary from Odisha. Gopabandhu Chaudhary was born in Jagatsinghpur. After his education, he joined the British government as a deputy magistrate. After 4 years, he resigned from his post of deputy magistrate and decided to spend the rest of his life in the service of the people. Gopabandhu Chaudhary started participating in the Gandhian programs.
निज सुख लागी जातनु है हिंदू विश्वहित हिंदू प्रति रक्त बिंदु.
He became a member of the Odisha Congress Committee and also a permanent member of the Utkal Samilani. His most significant work in this phase of Gandhian struggle for Swaraj was the establishment of Alakashram in Jagatsinghpur in January 1922. He experimented with the Gandhian system of rural reconstruction and education in this ashram.
Jivana ki khali nirasar bali moru morichika sneha preeti.
Gopabandhu became a famous leader of the civil disobedience movement and Salt Satyagraha. He was arrested by the British administration in April 1930 and was imprisoned till March 1931.
In 1934, Mahatma Gandhi undertook a Padyatra in Odisha. Upon Gandhiji's advice, Gopabandhu set up a base at Bari with his family and a few followers on the 13th of August 1934 and started working for people there. Gopabandhu translated Mahatma Gandhi's biography, My Experiments with Truth, into Odia, Satyara Prayog.
Post-independence, Gopabandhu became associated with the famous Bhudan movement in the 1950s. He breathed his last on the 29th of April 1958 after a long and eventful career of implementing Gandhian programs in rural Odisha. AIR News salutes the great freedom fighter Gopabandhu Chaudhary.
We also remember the martyr Indrabhushan Rai, born in 1890 in district Khulna, now in Bangladesh. Indrabhushan was a high school student when he threw a bomb on the mayor of Chandranagar in 1908. Later, he became a member of the Manikatola Garden Secret Organization and was convicted and sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment in cellular jail in 1909 for his involvement in the Alipur bomb case. Indrabhushan was tortured so much by the British authorities that he committed suicide inside the jail on the 29th of April 1912. AIR News salutes the brave son of the country.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
At the end of the 6th day of Khelo India University Games in Bengaluru, the Jain University continues to be at the helm, winning the highest number of medals. With 16 gold, 5 silver and 3 bronze medals, it occupies the first place in the medals tally. Punjab University with 9 gold, 5 silver and 13 bronze medals were placed second. As all the competitions in the swimming pool came to an end yesterday, the Jain University won 14 gold medals in this category. Shiva Sridhar won 7 gold and 2 silver medals in the pool. Another event that concluded yesterday was boxing. Chaudhry Ranbir Singh University boxers won 2 gold medals. In the men's boxing event, Lovely Professional University boxers won 3 gold and 11 other universities divided the medals in 13 categories. Kerala stormed into the final of the 75th Santosh Trophy National Football Championship, defeating Karnataka 7-3 in the first semi-final at the Payanad Stadium in Manjeri last evening. It was an emphatic performance by the two teams, which saw a total of 10 goals during the match.
In IPL cricket, Delhi Capitals DC defeated Kolkata Knight Riders KKR by 4 wickets at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai last night. Chasing a target of 147 runs, DC reached 150 for 6 in 19 overs, with David Warner registering 42 runs. Today, Punjab Kings will take on Lucknow Super Giants at Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune at 7:30 p.m.
The prestigious UNESCO heritage-listed Nilgiris mountain train services have been fully resumed to the pre-COVID levels. Yesterday, the Southern Railway introduced unreserved compartments to the train, which is often called the toy train. The one-of-its-kind train takes passengers from the foothills of the Western Ghats at Mettupalayam in Coimbatore district to the popular hill resorts town of Ooty in the Nilgiris. The train that is still being operated partially by the traditional steam locomotives. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi will experience heat wave. Temperature will hover between 25 and 44 degrees. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 36 degrees. Chennai is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 27 and 37 degrees. Kolkata is likely to have a mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 28 and 37 degrees. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The minimum temperature was 12 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 26 degrees. Jammu is expected to have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 40 degrees. Leh will have a generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was around 3 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 19 degrees. Gilgit will also have a generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. The temperature will hover between 13 and 34 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 37. Visakhapatnam will have a partly cloudy sky. Thiruvananthapuram will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. And Guwahati will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Prime Minister Modi's Assam visit has been covered prominently in the dailies. Efforts on to lift AFSPA in all of Northeast, says PM, reports the Hindustan Times. Need to be ready for both swift and long conflicts, IAF chief, reports the Times of India. Tit for tat, MEA justifies no tourist visas for Chinese. Amid COVID-19 fear, Beijing too hasn't issued visas to Indians, reports a Pioneer. Remains found in Punjab well traced to 1857 rebellion, reads a headline in the Indian Express. Newspapers have carried the story of extreme heat wave conditions in different parts of the country. IMD warns of scorching heat in 5 states, says the Pioneer. The Tribune writes, Hisar at 46 degrees Celsius, heat wave to intensify over 5 days. 5G service rollout is likely in August-September this year and plans are afoot for spectrum auction in June, says the Hindu, quoting Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. And finally, the Times of India under the headline, Don't Ruin Your Life Like I Did, says ex-Hizb man, now preaching peace, quotes Sheikh Mudassir as saying that the separatist ideology is metastatizing like a cancer in the valley.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Semicon India Conference 2022 in Bengaluru this morning. Prime Minister to also inaugurate Global Partidar Business Summit GPBS in Surat, Gujarat today via video conferencing. Union Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari to dedicate 2 NHAI projects in Telangana to the nation this morning. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal stresses on the need for cyber security and data privacy. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to launch mandate document of National Curriculum Framework today. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momin in Dhaka to leave for Bhutan this morning. Narcotics Control Bureau NCB seized 50 kg heroin from Shaheen Bagh in Delhi yesterday and arrested 1 person. National capital Delhi reports nearly 1,500 COVID cases in the last 24 hours, the highest after February 5 this year. India Meteorological Department issues orange alert for severe heat for Wardha, Akola, Chandrapur and Yavatmal districts in Maharashtra for tomorrow and Sunday. Chinese capital Beijing reels under fears of surge in COVID cases and reports spurt in prices of essential commodities. In Khelo India University Games, Bengaluru swimmer Shiva Sridhar claimed 7 gold and 2 silver medals as Jain University continues to dominate the pool, and Kerala stormed into the final of 75th Santosh Trophy National Football Championship, defeating Karnataka 7-3 in the first semi-final last evening. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.